6-year-old came in, and she was crying. And I was like, Jolie, just leave. Go get your sister and just tell her to call 911. And my oldest daughter went to come back in. I was like, no, just leave. Just go call 911 and tell them to just come here quick. And I said, open up the front door so they can get in. And last thing that I heard is that I heard my kids crying in the bedroom, and then I heard that she was still breathing, but they haven't told me anything since.
Let me tell you.
I didn't shoot my wife!
Tell me what happened then. Tell me what happened. Why do you have those scratches on your body?
I just told
Why
you.
do you have... That is not from you doing that.
You know what? Yeah, it is. When you shave your chest, you sit there, and I do this all freaking day.
You're just trying to make more scratches right now.
Oh, my God.
She's telling you to get off of me, get off of me. And you're saying, don't leave me, don't leave me.
Oh.
Why do you think that a neighbor that has nothing to do with this is going to say that?
Which one? The one next door
who's
threatening to kill our dog, or which one?
It doesn't matter which one. You have to explain that.
It never happened. She never said that. You know what? I did. And I've told you. I've told her to her mom. Them. You don't need to get high. You don't need to go get high because of your mom. You don't need to listen to her anymore.
You were mad at the fact that she was listening to her mom.
I've already told you that.
Yes, and so when you went upstairs, you were arguing with her. And you know you were arguing with her. That wound on the back of her head isn't where she could do it herself, Tom. It is not.
Oh, bull.
It is not.
Bull.
The Pentagon has identified the American killed by a bomb in Iraq yesterday as 34-year-old Chief Petty Officer Jason Finnan of Anaheim, California. Finnan was part of a bomb disposal team in the operation to retake Mosul from ISIS. Today, as many as 50 ISIS fighters attacked the city of Kirkuk as a diversion. Holly Williams and her crew raced to the scene.
ISIS infiltrated Kirkuk overnight and laid siege to neighborhoods across the city. We were with this Kurdish SWAT team today as they fought a gun battle with ISIS. The surprise attack started with multiple suicide bombings before the extremists holed up inside buildings, including this house under construction.
We know there are between 6 to 8 ISIS elements over there inside that building.
6 to 8 inside that building over there?
Yes.
On the streets below, the bodies of dead ISIS extremists, as well as local residents who couldn't move for fear of being shot. The SWAT team began firing tear gas canisters, throwing up a smoke screen before sending a team into the building.
So they've been shooting at the building and also firing tear gas canisters, and now the assault team is about to go in.
But as they approached, they came under fire, and one of them was hit.
So one of the SWAT team was injured, they had to pull back, and now they're trying to pin the ISIS gunmen down inside the building.
Commander Louay Mohammed is from Kirkuk and told us he'll fight ISIS until every last one of the extremists is dead.
What's in their heads?
Revenge, he said, for the Mosul offensive.
The fighting continued into the night. This may be retribution for the Mosul offensive, but Charlie, it's also a foretaste of what that battle will look like. Gunfighting in a densely packed city.
The U.S. Border Patrol is taking part in a pilot program to track officer-involved shootings. The Justice Department introduced that program last week after a wave of fatal police shootings over the past few months. Not only will it monitor Border Patrol, it will collect data from local, state, and federal law enforcement. U.S. Customs and Border Protection has come under scrutiny multiple times for its use of force in deterring illegal border crossings and the subsequent lack of information released to the public. USA Today reports the border commissioner said shooting data from U.S. agencies is, quote, pretty sketchy, and that he's open to changes. The patrol is also interested in using body and dash cams, but not much progress has been made on that front. For Newsy, I'm Katie Link.
The sound of gunfire and fighter jets signaled our arrival to Jobar battlefield near the capital, Damascus. Here, the Syrian army repelled an attack by terrorists of Faylaq al-Rahman near a sports stadium and Al-Masalikh area.
A group of armed men attacked in the morning from Jobar in the direction of Al-Zablatani in an attempt to break our lines into Damascus. They came from two sides.
After hours of clashes, tanks and armored vehicles returned victorious with no losses to their positions. All terrorists who took part in the attack were killed and their weapons were captured. They were aiming to take control of army positions near the government-held parts of Damascus. Army units said they will not allow any breach in their defense lines.
The army's morale is very high and we will remain steadfast till the final victory. We will defeat all terrorists.
Jobar is a quarter that has witnessed ferocious battles between the Syrian army and terrorist groups, mainly the Nusra Front, Jaish al-Islam and Faylaq al-Rahman. The area is strategic because it separates the terrorist-held eastern Ghouta from the government-held city of Damascus. By repelling this terrorist attack here in Jobar, the Syrian army proved preparedness in the face of any kind of infiltration attempt into the capital, as Jobar is the first defense line for the Syrian army in the face of terrorists trying to get into Damascus. Muhammad Ali, Press TV, Jobar, Damascus.
Fall River police are asking for the public's help catching a shooting suspect who's described as armed and dangerous. Police say 20-year-old Kelvin Manuel Cruz shot a 23-year-old man on Rodman Street around midnight on October 12th. And now we're learning more about what police say happened. Eyewitness News reporter Steph Machado has more now live from the mobile newsroom.
Police say Cruz is armed and dangerous. They are on the hunt for him and they accuse him of shooting a man last week. Fall River police are searching for this man, Kelvin Manuel Cruz of Fall River. They say he's suspected of shooting a 23-year-old man last week here on Rodman Street. Police describe Cruz as armed and dangerous and on the loose.
It's frightening, scared for my life.
Stephanie Tavares lives in this South Side neighborhood where the shooting happened. She's a lifelong Fall River resident and says the neighborhood has turned more violent.
And like where I'm staying now, sometimes I hear gunshots.
She was walking home with her groceries when we met her. Now she's thinking twice about being out alone, at least until Cruz is caught.
Unfortunately, it's not safe anywhere today.
Police say the 23-year-old victim was shot in the thigh on October 12th. They have not identified him, but say his injuries were life-threatening and he was taken to Rhode Island Hospital. The investigation eventually led police to name Cruz as the gunman. And again, police are asking for the public's help to find Cruz, so if you know where he is or you see him somewhere, call police right away. Reporting live with the Mobile Newsroom, I'm Steph Machado, Eyewitness News.
Now, 2 days after the deadly and fiery I-95 accidents in Johnston County, Highway Patrol have finally been able to identify one of the victims. 68-year-old Joseph George of Pittsburgh was ejected from his RV after it hit the back of a tractor-trailer. Hazardous materials in the tractor-trailer prompted an evacuation in the area. There are 2 other accidents that day. 2 other people died.
So it's one thing to post a negative comment online about a bar you don't like. It is quite another thing to threaten the place. Then on a live stream, go to the bar with a gun and point it at employees. And that is what this guy is accused of doing. Daniel Gooding is accused of doing that at a bar in Glendale near 51st Avenue in Northern. A couple of weeks after the confrontation, he was arrested with a BB gun and a semi-automatic pistol replica in his car.
Let's talk about the breaking news at 5:30. If you're just waking up with us, the I-17 at Carefree Highway has just reopened after a wrong-way crash. This is something else, and Katie Connor is there on the scene. Katie, it's my understanding you just spoke with investigators.
Yeah, Chris, take a look. This is the wrong way driver. I'm told from DPS this driver got on I-17 going the wrong way on Dove Valley, went about a mile until where we are at, and that's where he crashed into another car. And if we can kind of zoom past me, that is the other car that was involved in this, slammed into this driver. I'm told that this driver just has minor injuries, but the wrong way driver is right now in the hospital. Police do think that that impairment is a factor. What's interesting with this case, typically we hear with wrong way crashes that the wrong way drivers are usually in the carpool lane, so that's this lane right here. But in this case, the driver was actually in the slow lane. The driver, though, was able to see the wrong way driver coming right at him, slow down, and that's when the 2 just sideswiped each other. Now, right now, what we know about the wrong way driver, it's an adult female, and again, right now she's being treated at the hospital for minor injuries, and impairment is a factor. Chris, you can tell I-17 back open, but right now the on-ramp from Carefree Highway is still shut down. They are working on clearing that, and we'll let you know when it reopens. Chris?
All right. Metro police are looking for a shooter after a case of what they call workplace violence. It happened in the 7900 block of Zionsville Road. A worker here at BCS Recycling tells us that a disgruntled man who had been fired recently showed up in the parking lot this morning and fired shots at the car where his former supervisor was sitting inside. Police tell us that supervisor may have been grazed by a bullet, but they think he is okay at this point. They are talking to him. They are still searching for the man who they are calling the shooter. Anybody with information is urged to call Metro Police. From the Northwest Side, Julie Persley, RTV6.